My mother-in-law wore a white gown to my wedding by accident, so I spilled red wine on her by accident, and now my husband is demanding I apologize publicly. My husband, let's call him Easton, and I have been together for 4 years. His mother, Linda, has always been difficult. She's the type of woman who makes subtle digs about my weight, my job, or my cooking, but she says it with such a sweet smile that if I call her out, I look like the crazy one. Easton always tells me that I'm overreacting or that she didn't mean it like that. I've tried to keep the peace for his sake, but last weekend was our wedding, and she crossed a line that I don't think I can ever forgive. For months, Linda had been vague about what she was wearing. Every time I asked, she'd wave me off and tell me she found a lovely, understated beige cocktail dress. I trusted her. That was my first mistake. When I walked down the aisle, I was so focused on Easton that I didn't see the front row until I reached the altar. And there she was. Linda wasn't wearing beige. She wasn't wearing a cocktail dress. She was wearing a floor-length, off-white, lace gown with a slight train. It looked almost exactly like a bridal gown. I could hear people whispering behind me. My maid of honor looked like she was about to tackle her. I felt my stomach drop, and honestly, I wanted to cry, but I forced a smile and got through the vows because I refused to let her ruin the moment. The reception was worse. She was parading around, accepting compliments, and telling people how she'd just grabbed this old thing from her closet and didn't realize it would match me so well. It was a lie. I was fuming. Easton, of course, was oblivious. When I whispered to him that his mother was wearing a wedding dress, he told me to let it go and not to make a scene. That snapped something inside me. Later in the evening, I was walking by her table with a very full glass of red wine. She was standing there, holding court with some of my distant relatives. I don't know what came over me, but as I passed, I tripped on the edge of the carpet. The wine went flying. It splashed all over the front of her lace gown. It was a massacre. The room went silent. Linda shrieked like a banshee. I immediately gasped and apologized, saying I was so clumsy and the carpet was uneven. My bridesmaids rushed over to help, which mostly involved rubbing the wine deeper into the fabric while apologizing profusely. Linda had to leave to change, and she spent the rest of the night in a sour mood wearing a backup outfit she had in her car. Now, 3 days later, the dust has settled, and it is bad. Easton is furious. He says his mother is devastated and claims I did it on purpose because I was jealous of her looking good. He told me that I humiliated her in front of our entire family and that I owe her a public apology on Facebook to clear the air and admit it was an accident, or at least apologize for the damage. I refused. I told him that she humiliated me by wearing a wedding dress to my wedding and that if she hadn't worn white, the wine wouldn't have been such a tragedy. He stormed out and hasn't really spoken to me since. Am I the asshole for refusing to apologize? And how do I handle my husband taking her side over mine? Commenter 1. Not the Aholi. Are you kidding me? She wore a wedding dress to your wedding. That is the universal sign of disrespect. She knew exactly what she was doing, and honestly, the wine spill was poetic justice. Your husband is the real problem here. The fact that he can't see how disrespectful his mother was is a huge red flag. Do not apologize. If you apologize, you validate her behavior. Commenter 2. Oh, honey, NTA. I would have poured the whole bottle. The "I just grabbed this old thing" excuse is classic gaslighting. She wanted to be the bride. The fact that she had a backup outfit in the car proves she knew there might be backlash or a mishap. Your husband needs to pull his head out of the sand. Do not post that apology. It will stay on the internet forever and she will use it to victimize herself for years. Update 1. 1 week later. Reading through all your comments gave me the strength to stand my ground. But things have escalated in a way I didn't expect. After Easton stormed out, he stayed at his parents' house for 2 days. I spent those 2 days crying and feeling anxious, wondering if my marriage was over before it even really began. When he finally came home, the air was so thick you could cut it with a knife. He didn't yell. In fact, he was terrifyingly calm. He sat me down at the kitchen table and told me that he was disappointed in my character. He said that his mother has been crying non-stop, claiming that the dress was a vintage piece she planned to be buried in, which I know is a lie because I saw the tag. It was from a current season department store line. I tried to explain my side again. I told him how hurtful it was to look out and see her trying to outshine me on the one day that was supposed to be ours. I told him that everyone at the wedding was whispering about it and that she embarrassed herself. He didn't want to hear it. He told me that intent matters more than perception and that her intent was just to look nice, whereas my intent was to destroy her property. Then he drops the bomb. He told me that Linda is willing to forgive me and move past this, but only if I make a post on social media explaining that I was drunk and clumsy, and that I deeply regret ruining her beautiful gown. He even drafted the post for me. It read, "I want to publicly apologize to my wonderful mother-in-law for my clumsy behavior at the wedding. I had too much to drink and accidentally ruined her lovely dress. I am so sorry for the distress I caused." I stared at him in disbelief. I told him there was absolutely no way I was posting that. It makes me look like an alcoholic Slav and paints her as a saint. I told him that I would apologize for the spill privately, but only if she acknowledged that wearing white was inappropriate. Easton lost it. He told me I was being stubborn and vindictive. He said, "My mother is the only family I have who has always been there for me. If you can't respect her, I don't know if we can make this work." Since then, Linda has gone on a social media offensive. She hasn't named me directly, but she's posting photos of the stained dress with captions like, When people show you their true colors, believe them, and heartbroken that jealousy can ruin such a special day. Her friends, and some of Easton's relatives, are commenting things like, "So cruel," and "Stay strong, Linda." I feel completely isolated. Easton is sleeping in the guest room. He comes home from work, eats dinner in silence, and goes to bed. I feel like I'm living with a ghost. I'm starting to wonder if I should just post the damn apology to save my marriage, even though it makes me sick to my stomach. I feel like if I don't, he's going to leave me. Do I swallow my pride and post the apology to get my husband back? Or is this the hill I should die on? Commenter 1. Do not post that. Oh my god, please listen to me. This is not about the dress anymore. This is about control. He drafted the post for you? That is controlling and abusive behavior. If you post that, you are handing Linda the keys to your marriage. She will know that all she has to do is cry to Easton, and you will be forced to submit. If he leaves you over this, let him go. He is married to his mother, not you. Commenter 2. This is horrifying. The vintage piece she wanted to be buried in? She is lying through her teeth. And the fact that Easton believes her over you, his wife, is the biggest issue here. He is trying to humiliate you publicly to appease her. Do not do it. If you cave now, you will be caving for the rest of your life. Every holiday, every birthday, every decision regarding your future children, if you have them, will be dictated by Linda. Commenter 3. The silent treatment is emotional manipulation. He's punishing you. Honestly, I would comment on her passive-aggressive posts. Post a photo of the tag from the department store proving it's not vintage. Blow it up. If he wants to threaten the marriage over his mommy's feelings, show him you aren't afraid to fight back. But whatever you do not post his drafted apology. Update 2. 3 weeks later. I didn't post the apology, and I took the advice about the tag seriously, though I didn't post it publicly because I was still trying to salvage things with Easton. Things have been incredibly tense. We are technically speaking, but it's purely functional. Did you feed the dog? Or I'll be late tonight. It's heartbreaking. I look at my wedding photos, the ones where she isn't in the frame, and I just cry. I wanted this to be the happiest time of our lives, and instead, it's a nightmare. Last weekend was the breaking point. It was Easton's birthday. Usually, I plan a big dinner or a surprise, but given the Cold War, I just bought him a nice watch he'd been eyeing and planned a quiet dinner at home. I thought maybe we could talk, really talk, without Linda's shadow hanging over us. I came home from work early to start cooking his favorite meal. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw Linda's car. My heart sank. I walked into the house, and there she was, in my kitchen, wearing an apron. My apron. She was chopping vegetables and had pots boiling on the stove. Easton was sitting at the island, laughing, a sound I hadn't heard in weeks. When they saw me, the laughter stopped abruptly. Linda smiled, but sickly sweet smile. "Oh, hello, dear. I just thought since things have been so strained, I would come over and make my baby boy his favorite birthday dinner. I know you've been under a lot of stress." I felt the blood rush to my face. I looked at Easton, waiting for him to tell her that I had it covered, that this was our home. Instead, he just looked down at his drink and said, "Mom's making lasagna. Why don't you go get changed?" I felt like an intruder in my own house. I walked up to the bedroom, and I was shaking so hard I could barely unzip my dress. I sat on the edge of the bed and realized that he had told her about our dinner plans. He had invited her into our space knowing how uncomfortable I was. I went back downstairs, and they were already eating. They hadn't even waited for me. Linda looked up and said, "There's a plate for you on the counter if you're hungry." I snapped. I didn't scream, but I spoke very clearly. I told Linda to get out of my house. Easton stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Don't you dare talk to her like that," he said. "She's wearing my apron, cooking in my kitchen, on the night I planned a dinner for you," I told him, my voice trembling. "She is doing this to Easton her territory, Easton. Can you seriously not see that?" Linda started the waterworks immediately. "I was just trying to help. I just wanted everyone to be happy," she sobbed, clutching her chest. Easton looked at me with pure hatred. "You are obsessed with making her the villain," he spat. "She's trying to bridge the gap, and you're just full of hate. I'm done. I can't do this anymore." He helped his mother gather her things, and then he packed a bag. He told me he was going to stay at her house until I got professional help for my jealousy issues. He left me alone in the house on his birthday. Yesterday, I received a notification on my phone. Easton had changed his relationship status on Facebook to "It's complicated." And then, I saw Linda's post. It was a picture of Easton blowing out candles at her house, captioned, "So happy to have my son home where he is appreciated and loved. No toxic energy allowed here." I am devastated, but I'm also starting to feel something else, rage. I spoke to a lawyer friend of mine this morning just to see what my options are if this actually leads to divorce. She asked me a question that stuck with me. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be married to this man? I'm asking you guys because I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality. Is there any coming back from this? Should I try to go to therapy like he suggested just to appease him? Or is this marriage dead? Commenter 1. Honey, the marriage isn't dead, it was never alive to begin with. He is married to his mother. The apron scene gave me chills. That was a territorial pissing contest, and he let her win. He watched his mother displace his wife in her own home and then blamed you for noticing. Do not go to therapy with him unless you pick the therapist. If he picks one, it will be someone who validates him. Lawyer up. Now. Commenter 2. The "It's complicated" status update? Is he 15? That is so manipulative. He's trying to punish you publicly to force you into submission. He wants you to come crawling back, begging for forgiveness. Don't give him the satisfaction. Change your locks. Pack his remaining stuff. Send it to Linda's. Let him be happy with his real wife. Update 3. 2 weeks later. I wish I could say I immediately packed his bags and filed for divorce, but I was weak. I spent the first week crying and checking his social media like a masochist. He and Linda were posting photos constantly, family dinners, movie nights, mother-son dates. It was sickening, but part of me still missed him. I kept thinking about the man I fell in love with, not this stranger who was letting his mother destroy us. Then, out of the blue, Easton texted me. Easton, I've booked an appointment for us. Marriage counseling. Thursday at 4 p.m. If you care about us, you'll be there. I felt a surge of hope. I thought, finally, he's taking this seriously. Maybe a professional could explain to him why a mother-in-law wearing a wedding dress is insane. I texted back okay and asked for the address. He sent me the address of a church in a neighboring town, which seemed odd since we aren't particularly religious, but I was desperate. I showed up 10 minutes early. Easton was already there in the waiting room. He looked tired. I wanted to hug him, but he stayed seated, his arms crossed. He didn't even look at me. Glad you decided to show up, he muttered. We went into the office. The counselor was an older man, Pastor Dave, who apparently has known Linda for 30 years. My stomach dropped. I tried to object, saying we should see a neutral third party, but Easton cut me off. You said you wanted to fix this. Pastor Dave is the wisest man I know. Stop being difficult. The session was a nightmare. Pastor Dave started by asking me why I felt the need to be combative with a woman who only wants the best for her son. Every time I tried to bring up the white dress, Dave would smile condescendingly and say, let's not focus on material things. Let's focus on the heart. Linda's heart was in the right place. Can you say the same for yours when you spilled that wine? I felt like I was being gaslit by a tag team, but the real kicker came 20 minutes in. There was a knock on the door. Pastor Dave smiled. I think it would be healing to bring all parties together to the table. The door opened, and Linda walked in. She wasn't wearing a bridal gown this time, but she was dressed entirely in black, like she was attending a funeral. She had a tissue in her hand, dabbing at dry eyes. Easton immediately stood up and went to her, guiding her to the chair next to him. They sat there, shoulder to shoulder, facing me. I just want us to be a family, Linda sniffled. I don't know why, my name hates me so much. I've tried everything. Easton looked at me, his eyes cold. See? She's devastated. All we are asking for is the public apology to clear her name. The family is being torn apart because you're too stubborn to admit you were drunk and clumsy. I looked at Pastor Dave. He nodded in agreement. My name. Scripture tells us that pride comes before the fall. A simple apology on Facebook would restore peace. Is your pride worth more than your marriage? Something in me snapped. It wasn't the rage I felt before. It was clarity. I looked at Easton, holding his mother's hand while she fake cried. I realized the commenters were right. I was the third wheel. You're right, I said quietly. Easton perked up. I am? Yes. My pride isn't worth this marriage. Because this isn't a marriage. It's a cult. I stood up, and not apologizing. She wore a wedding dress to my wedding. It was a calculated insult. And you, I pointed at Easton, are a coward. You brought her to our marriage counseling? You're done. If you walk out that door, Easton threatened, his voice rising, don't bother coming back. I won't, I said. I walked out. I could hear Linda wailing loudly as the door closed, probably creating a fresh scene for her audience. I got to my car and screamed until my throat hurt. Then, I called my lawyer friend and told her to draw up the papers. I thought leaving the session would make me feel powerful, but I just feel empty. Easton has blocked my number. Linda is now posting vague threats about legal action for defamation regarding the wine spill. Can she actually sue me for spilling wine on her dress? Commenter 1. She sues you? Let her try. No judge in the world is going to entertain a lawsuit over a wine stain on a white dress worn by MIL to a wedding. It's laughable. This is an intimidation tactic. Good on you for walking out of that ambush. Pastor Dave sounds unethical as hell. You are doing the right thing. The emptiness is normal. It's grease. You're greeting the man you thought he was. Commenter 2. A cult. You nailed it. That is exactly what that was. Bringing her into the session was the final nail in the coffin. Document everything. Save the texts where he forced you to go to her pastor. Save the screenshots of her threats. And please, change the locks on your house immediately. If he has a key, she has a key. Update 4. 10 days later. The comments about escalation were spot on. After I walked out of the counseling session, the silence from Easton lasted about 3 days. Then, the emails started. He couldn't text me because I had blocked him, so he began filling my inbox. The first few were angry. He called me heartless, mentally unstable, and said I had humiliated him in front of a man of God. When I didn't reply, the tone shifted. He started sending photos of us from our honeymoon. He wrote long paragraphs about how much he missed me and how we shouldn't let outside influences destroy what we built. The irony, right? I didn't respond. I was busy. My lawyer, Rihanna, had advised me to separate our finances immediately. I went to the bank to remove him from our joint savings account, only to find that half the money was already gone. The withdrawal had been made the day after I kicked Linda out of my kitchen. I felt sick. That money was for a down payment on a bigger house. I called Rihanna in a panic. She told me to document it. It would look terrible for him in court, but that I had to brace myself for a messy fight. That night, I was at home, packing up Easton's things into boxes as commenter 2 suggested. I found a shoebox in the back of his closet. I almost didn't open it, thinking it was just old shoes, but curiosity got the better of me. Inside, there were receipts, lots of them, and right on top, folded neatly, was a receipt from a high-end bridal boutique in the city, dated 3 months ago. It wasn't for my dress. The receipt listed, ivory lace illusion gown, size 12. The price was $4,500, and the credit card used was Easton's personal Amex. He bought the dress. My husband bought the wedding dress his mother wore to our wedding. I sat on the floor and stared at the piece of paper for what felt like an hour. All the lies, she just grabbed an old thing. She didn't know. It was a vintage heirloom. All of it was orchestrated. He knew. He paid for it. He probably helped her pick it out. I felt like I was going to throw up. The betrayal was so deep I couldn't even process it. He didn't just fail to defend me. He was an active participant in my humiliation. Then, my phone pinged. It was a notification from Facebook. Easton had tagged me in a post. I opened it. It was a long, sob story post. Easton wrote, "I never thought I'd be doing this, but I'm at my wit's end. My wife has abandoned our marriage because of a simple accident. She ruined my mother's vintage dress, a dress that meant the world to her, and refuses to apologize. I am praying for her heart to soften so we can be a family again. Please, everyone, tell her to come home." Hundreds of comments. His family, her friends, people I didn't even know, all calling me a monster. How could she? Heartless. Poor Linda. He was using social media to bully me into submission. He wanted a public apology? He wanted to drive this into the public square? I looked at the receipt in my hand. I looked at the tag I had cut out of Linda's dress that night. I kept it to prove the brand, thank God. I decided that if he wanted to play on Facebook, we could play on Facebook. I took a clear photo of the receipt showing Easton's name, the date, and the item description ivory bridal gown. I took a photo of the dress tag showing the brand. I went to the bridal store's website and found the stock photo of the dress, clearly labeled 2024 Bridal Collection. I drafted my response. Subject, the apology you asked for. Easton, you've been demanding a public apology for weeks. You wanted me to clear the air about your mother's dress. So, here it is. I am sorry. I am sorry that I didn't realize the vintage heirloom your mother wore was actually a $4,500 gown from the 2024 Bridal Collection. See photo A. I am sorry I didn't realize that she grabbed it from her closet actually meant you bought it for her on your credit card 3 months ago. See receipt in photo B. I am sorry that I spilled wine on it. It was an accident. But wearing a wedding dress to your son's wedding isn't an accident. Buying it for her isn't an accident. I'm done protecting you. I'm done being the villain in your twisted narrative. I want a divorce. I hovered my finger over the post button. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I knew that once I pressed this, there was no going back. It would blow up our entire lives. His family would see it. My family. Our co-workers. I pressed post. It's been 2 hours. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm terrified. Did I go too far? Update 5. 48 hours later. I took the advice to stay somewhere else. I grabbed my dog and went to my sister's house immediately after posting. It's a good thing I did, because according to my Ring doorbell camera, Easton showed up at our house about 20 minutes after the post went live. He didn't look like the sad, heartbroken husband he played on Facebook. He looked like a maniac. He was pounding on the door, screaming my name, and kicking the porch railing. He looked at the camera and yelled, "Take it down. You're ruining my life. Take it down now." I didn't take it down. In fact, I turned off notifications and let the internet do its thing. By the next morning, the post had been shared by mutual friends, relatives, and, most satisfy, people from his church. The vintage heirloom narrative collapsed instantly. The receipt was undeniable. The fallout was swift. Easton's aunt, Linda's sister, who had previously commented "Stay strong Linda" on the initial vague posts, messaged me. She apologized. She said Linda had told everyone the dress was her grandmother's and that I had attacked her unprovoked. She said, "I had no idea Easton bought that for her. That is, not right." Then came the texts from Easton. They swung wildly between begging and threatening. 8 a.m. "Please, my name, Mom is having a panic attack. She can't show her face in town. Just delete it and we can talk." 9:30 a.m. "You're vindictive B*******. You planned this. You'll pay for this in court. 10 a.m. "I love you. Why are you doing this to us?" I forwarded every single screenshot to my lawyer. Rihanna, my attorney, was actually laughing when I called her. She said, "He just handed us the easiest divorce case of my career. He admitted to dissipating marital assets, the $4,500, and his behavior is bordering on harassment." Linda has gone dark. Her Facebook account was deactivated yesterday. Apparently, being exposed as a liar who tricks her son into buying her bridal gowns didn't play well with her Christian victim persona. I stopped by the house today with my dad to get the rest of my things. The house was empty. Easton had taken his clothes and his gaming PC and gone back to Mommy's. It felt weirdly symbolic. He left the furniture, the photos, and the life we built. He only took the toys. I'm exhausted, but for the first time in months, I don't feel crazy. I feel free. Final update. 6 months later. I promised I'd come back and let you guys know how it all ended once the dust settled. The divorce was finalized last week. Because of the receipts, literally and figuratively, the mediation was short. Easton tried to argue that the watch I bought him for his birthday was a gift he should keep, but that the $4,500 dress was a family expense. My lawyer shut that down immediately. I got the house, which I'm selling, too many bad memories, the dog, and my full share of the savings, plus reimbursement for half the cost of that damn dress. I haven't seen Easton since the day I walked out of Pastor Dave's office, but I hear things through the grapevine in our small town. Easton is still living with Linda. Apparently, they are miserable. A friend of mine saw them at the grocery store recently. She said Easton looked disheveled and Linda was berating him loudly in the produce section about the wrong kind of apples. It seems that without me there to be the buffer and the scapegoat, they have turned on each other. Linda's reputation never recovered. The church ladies are a vicious bunch when they smell blood scandal. She was removed from the planning committee for the annual gala. It's petty, I know, but hearing that gave me a little warm fuzzy feeling. As for me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay. I've been in therapy, real therapy, not with a family friend, unpacking the last 4 years. I'm realizing how much I shrank myself to fit into their dynamic. I walked on eggshells for so long I forgot how to walk on solid ground. I went out on a date last night. Just coffee, nothing serious. I didn't mention the ex-husband or the mother-in-law or the viral Facebook post. We just talked about movies and travel. It was nice to just be a person again, not a pawn in someone else's weird psychological game. I still have the wine-stained dress receipt. I framed it. It's hanging in my laundry room in the new apartment. A little reminder to trust my gut. To everyone who commented on that first post, thank you. You guys woke me up. You made me realize that keeping the peace was just a fancy way of letting them abuse me. You gave me the courage to be the villain in their story so I could be the hero in mine. I'm going to sign off now. I have a bottle of very nice, very dark red wine to open, and I promise, if I spill it this time, I won't apologize to anyone.